Hi, everybody. So, we're going to talk today about essay structure, which is something to think about whenever you're in the planning stages of a writing project. So, let's go ahead into this. So, when we talk about structure in writing, what it means it's the overall organization, the arrangement of ideas in your essay. So, it's basically how you present the content to communicate your message, right? When I talk about structure, I always picture like a house frame, like this one in this um, image here. So it's just kind of the general shape of your essay before you add more to it. So before you add your details and your research and that sort of thing. So when we do an outline, we're basically building this structure for your essay just to see if it's on the right track before we go forward and add more to it. Um, the typical academic essay structure follows this pattern. Now, there are other structures that an essay might follow, but if you don't have any other instructions from your teacher and they ask you to write an essay, this is pretty typical and you'd probably be on the right track if you followed this. So, we usually have an introduction in the essays we're doing this semester. That introduction will be one paragraph. Then you usually have a number of body paragraphs, and this is going to vary depending on what you have to cover in the essay, how long the essay has to be, so as many as needed, pretty much. And then you'll have a conclusion, and again, for what we're doing in this class in English 101, that conclusion will be one paragraph. So where the variety comes in terms of how the essay is structured, is going to come in here with how many body paragraphs are needed. But then there's also some other places where things might be varied. So if it sounds like all your essays will sound the same because we're following the same structure, that's not necessarily the case. We're going to have 3 essays this semester, and they will have similar structures, but the topics and the purpose and the content will vary. So the framework will be the same, but how we add to that framework is going to vary, right? So for Unit 1, which we're working on right now, the purpose and topic are to reflect on reading 1. And that means that the content of the body paragraphs will describe your personal experiences that are related to the material in reading 1. So this is a personal essay, a reflective essay. When we get to Unit 3, your purpose and topic are to respond to reading 2. So here you're going to look at the author's ideas and decide whether you agree or disagree with them, or some other response, but most people do agree or disagree. The other thing that would vary with this essay is that somewhere in the body paragraphs, you will bring in something from your reading 3, R3. So notice that the essay will focus on reading 2, but you'll bring in something from reading 3 in your body paragraphs. Unit 4, here the purpose and topic are to evaluate, and we're focusing on a new reading here. So what you're doing here is discussing the strengths and weaknesses of the author's argument. So you won't necessarily be talking about the issue, you'll be talking about how the author crafted their argument, the choices that they made, the strategies that they used to convince their readers. And again, somewhere in the body paragraphs, you'll bring in material from reading 5. So you're focusing on one reading, reading 4, but you'll bring in reading 5 somewhere in those body paragraphs. So although the structure will be very similar for all 3 of these essays, the content, the purpose, the topic, that's going to vary. So what we're going to do next is talk about how to use an outline to create that structure, that framework that you can then build on. So we'll talk about that in the next lesson.